Good evening, everyone. Actually, only the Buddha and Arahant have a mature mind. Not even Nuratana, not mature, consider. Because they, actually I will quote, I want to explain what is mature mind according to Buddhism. Maybe you can say that this is my interpretation. So what is mature mind? So I will quote Mangala Sutta. As you all know that we have a 38 blessings in Mangala Sutta. So these are the last four among 38. Especially we'll talk about the last one, the last one. So which is possessed by the Buddha and Arahant. So anyway, actually here I think it is important to take note that we are doing puja, we are paying homage to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha by reciting their qualities. So we have 9 qualities of the Buddha. So we recite and we chant the quality of the Buddha because we are very grateful to him for for preaching his Dhamma. By knowing, we can practice. And we recite and we chant 9 qualities of the Buddha. The reason is to emulate or to copy, the quality of the Buddha. So we can say that among 38 blessings, the last 4 are the quality of the Buddha as well. So actually we have the Buddha has many qualities, not only 9 qualities. So when we talk about 38 blessings, the last 4 are the quality of the Buddha or Arahant. So I think today I will interpret mature mind based on Mangala Sutta. So in Mangala Sutta, and also second last paragraph, is said like this: if one's mind is sorrowless, you are mature. If you are sorrowless, if you don't have a sorrow and fear, you are mature. Do you still have a sorrow, fear? Actually, to some degree, we have sorrow and fear. For those who have a lot of sorrow, especially in the wake and funeral, so they are not mature. So they'll be crying a lot, restless. And if you have fear to lose something, you are not mature. You'll be shaking all the time. You'll be shaking, restless. So for that reason, sorrowless. For that reason, I said that only the Buddha and Arahant, 100% mature, So we, as long as we are not Arahant, we do not become Arahant, stay not mature yet. But of course, our maturity will different level. The second one, stainless. So that means no negative thought. So if you do not have a negative thought, you are mature. For those who have a lot of negative thinking, not mature. And second one, secure, kema. So that means peaceful and calm. For those who are mature, so they are calm and peaceful in the meeting, in their job, so in their relationship with other people. For those who are not mature, they are not calm, they are not peaceful. If someone say criticism or blaming, at once they will respond. Not mature, not mature. Especially in a meeting, it is obvious. For those who are not mature, so the way they respond is reckless, So for that reason, secure or peace and calmness. So this is the quality of mature person. Actually, today I just want to talk about the last one. Is not disturbed or shaken. It's not shaken when affected by all worldly vicissitudes. So actually, we have ups and downs of life in our life. Sometimes we gain, sometimes we lose, sometimes blamed by people, sometimes you have a lot of pain, sometimes pleasure, sometimes pain. Like this, we have ups and downs of life. Everyone will face it, whether man or woman, lay person or a monk, anyone. So when you are affected by ups and downs of life, if you are not shaken, if you are stable, if you can balance your mind, not to upset about them, about this, you are mature. So actually, these are the last 4 blessings among 38. In other words, these 4 are the quality of Arahant. If we practice, then we can gain all these qualities. So we need to practice. So for that reason, today I will talk about how to cultivate a mature mind. So, of course, as the Arahant and the Buddha, they are 100% mature. So we are not. So we can train our mind to become a mature person. So in Mangala Soda, this is the higher blessing. Because the reason I say these are the quality of the Buddha and Arahant, the reason is, before this verse, so Nibbana Satchikriyacha Itam Mangala Modaman. So realizing Nibbana, attaining Nibbana. So that means attain Nibbana only Sotapanna, the first stage of saying hold, Sakatagami, once Ratana, second stage, and Anagami, non-Ratana, third stage, and Arahant, the fourth stage. So only those 4 noble persons will be able to attain Nibbana. So that means, of course, this is not only, if we look at in this way, according to the 4th stage, it is the quality of Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahant. Most importantly is the quality of Arahant. So, if we look at this verse, special verse, and we can simply understand that if we are sorrowless, we are mature. If we do not have sorrow and fear, mature. So if you do not have a negative thinking and negative thought, you're mature. If you are peaceful and calm, you're mature. So actually, when I start talking, when I start teaching teachings of the Buddha in Mangala Vihara, not mature. My mind is shaking. Now a little bit getting mature, because of training. I need to train, I need to read a lot, then getting mature. So now less sorrow and fear. So I think secure or peace and calm is the quality of mature person. And then most importantly, if our mind is not shaken when affected by ups and downs of life, so we are mature. The most important one, the last one. So actually, I will talk about 3 steps to cultivate a mature mind. So here, if you have any question, you just raise your hand. You don't need to wait until the Dhamma Talk finish. Oh, okay. Question. Sorry? Or these are just the quality or immature person. It can be more than that. More than that. But the most importantly, the last one. The last one, yeah. I think the last one is more than enough. If your mind is not shaking, when you are affected by worldly vicissitudes. Actually, normal person. So when we are blamed, we feel angry. We're shaking. Our mind is shaking. When we are praised, also shaking with the excitement. For actually Arahant and the Buddha. So whenever their mind is affected with any state of ups and downs of life, so their mind is very stable. They're mature. One time, a Brahmin came to the Buddha, and he was using unpleasant speeches, because the Buddha ordained his brother, a Brahmin. As you know, in India, Brahmin caste is considered as the highest. So he was very angry because he considered being a Buddhist monk as a low caste. So he think that his brother, is thrown into the lower caste. He was very angry. Then he couldn't do anything because his brother himself, decided to become a monk. Then instead of talking to his brother monk, he approached to the Buddha and using, unpleasant epithet, cursing him, So the Buddha just listened, full of anger, pointing his fingers to the Buddha, and the Buddha listened very calmly. Then the Brahmin became exhausted. Then the Buddha start to talk. Brahmin, may I ask, if a visitor come to your house, so do you serve with the food? Yes, I did. Then the Buddha said, if the visitor do not eat your food, what do you do? What do you do with the food? This is my food, then I can eat myself and I can share with my family members. And the Buddha say, Brahmin, you use unpleasant speeches to me, you are cursing me. I do not take your words. Take it back. Take it back. So that means, even though the Buddha is listening, unpleasant speeches, causing him, no anger, the Buddha listened very calmly. So at the right time, the Buddha will respond. So the Brahmin was enlightened. Then he became a monk. So what I want to say is, actually, when I compare, the conduct and behavior of Arahant and the Buddha, you may think that it is within your reach. You may think that. No. Actually, in Mahayana tradition, a very beautiful term, Buddha Bija. Buddha Bija, the seat of enlightenment. Anyone can attain enlightenment. So what I want to say, even you cannot imitate all the quality of the Buddha, then we can imitate some of them. So today I will talk about 3 steps. So there are many examples, So even though the Buddha have a lot of praise, not shaken, not shaken by his mind. So I think that these are, if you take it the last one, more than enough. What I want to say is more than enough. Normally, we have eight worldly vicissitudes. Sometimes you gain, sometimes you lost. If we encounter with the gain, so we feel excited, we feel excited. When you lost something, you feel down, depressed. So we cannot control our mind. Our mind is shaking, affected. So that means not mature. For those who are mature, even though they are playing in the meeting, they're very calm and peaceful. They're not angry, They're not angry. So this is the quality of mature person. So you have sometimes you will encounter with the disrepute, sometimes fame, Sometimes you will encounter with the blame, sometimes with the praise. Sometimes you will have a pleasure, sometimes you will have a pain in your life. Wherever ups and downs of life are a factor in your life, if you can balance your mind, not to shake, if your mind is not shaking, you are mature. So actually, if you can maintain maturity of your mind, you will not have any suffering in your mind. Even though you have a lot of pain, in your life. Even though you have lost a lot even though you encounter with a lot of loss in your life. So, no suffering at all. So today I will talk about 3 steps. Any question so far? Okay, so let's continue. So 3 steps to cultivate a mature mind. Number 1, the knowledge of the ownership for karma. So we as a Buddhist, we have learned a lot about karma. So if you have the knowledge, but here the knowledge here means understanding, If you have an understanding about karma, then you will able to cultivate a mature mind. And second one, if you can live with the 4 divine dwellings or 4 sublime states, then you can cultivate a mature mind. And the last one, and the highest one, understanding the doctrine of non-self, anatta. So this is the most highest one. If you understand the last one, you don't need to practice the other 2. So this is the highest teaching in Buddhism. So the doctrine of the teachings of anatta, non-self, is the fundamental teachings of Buddhism. It is this teaching that distinguishes from other religions. So you can find the teachings of non-self only in Buddhism. The other religions, so they will talk about self or atta or soul, right? You will hear teachings of soul in other religions. But here, no soul or non-self. Okay, I will explain later. So these are 3 steps. So and as a good Buddhist, you should have number 1, as a number 1. The knowledge of the ownership of karma. This is at least fundamental level. If you want to become a good Buddhist, you must have understanding about the ownership for karma. And second one, living with the 4 divine dwellings. So if you can practice 4 divine dwellings, Brahma, Vihara, then you will become a very good Buddhist. Very good Buddhist. But if you have understanding of the teachings of non-self, the best. So you will be 100% immature person. You will become a 100% mature person. This one, not easy. It needs a lot of practice, especially meditation. Okay, so these are 3 steps. Then I will explain one by one. So regarding with the ownership for karma, we have one particular lines the Buddha usually use from the Pali Canon. So the Buddha say, I am the owner of my karma. So we must have right view and the knowledge of this ownership for karma. I am the owner of my karma, the heir of my karma. Then I have a karma as my origin, karma as my relative, karma as my result. The last one, I will be the heir of whatever karma, good or bad, that I do. Normally this is the knowledge or ownership for karma. If we have this level, we became a good Buddhist. A good Buddhist. Normally, we do something wrong, so we don't want to take that responsibility. We try to evade, We do not shoulder that responsibility. So you pretend that you didn't do that, For example, in your job, you make mistakes. You make mistakes. That is bad, right? That is bad. But you don't want to take responsibility, then you evade that problem. You hide your mistake, your mistake. That's a human problem. You are not there to take responsibility for your mistakes. So I think here, suppose because of your mistake, then the boss will blame you or complain you, customer will complain you. Then you feel very angry. Or if the boss blame you, you have a fear to lose your job. So here, your mind is not stable. Your mind is shaking right now because you do not take responsibility for your karma. You have done bad karma, And also, if you have suppose your friend have done a good job in your company, then he was promoted. Then you cannot rejoice, You cannot congratulate for his promotion. And that means you don't have the knowledge of ownership for karma. All beings are owner of their own karma. So you have to know that he was promoted or she was promoted because he have done a good job in the company. So this is regarding with the karma. In your family, the same thing. You have done good things or you have done bad things. Then you are responsible for that karma. So if you have done bad things, then there will be bad consequences in your life. But you have to accept it because you have the knowledge of ownership for karma. If you have done good things, acknowledge that, this is my karma. I have done something good deed. Some people, they have a lot of, amazing things happen in their life. But they cannot believe, their karma. For that reason, they think that, some of the deva do it for me. Because you forgot about your karma. So, good things or bad things happen in our life because of our karma. So that karma may be right now in this life, or that karma may be present or past life, the karma that you have done in the past life. So you have to know that you are owner of your own karma. It's something tragic happen in your life. You have to know that. So we are owner of our own karma. And something good things happen in your life. Acknowledge your karma. I have done something good things in this life or in past life. Because of that, good things come to you. I think the knowledge of ownership for karma is the basic fundamental teachings of Buddha. The basic teachings of the Buddha. So if you have this understanding, this knowledge, You will not believe any external agents. This happened because of God or goddesses. This happened because of somebody, So there's no, you don't need to pinpoint, external agent. So as you all know that, as a Buddhist, we are very lucky that, so we believe ourselves. Wherever we do in our life, that's our karma. It's something, I want to say, tragic things happen in our life. We acknowledge that's my karma. And something good things happen in your life, also you acknowledge your karma. You have done good things in this life or in the past life. It is not because of external agents. Most importantly, especially in our relationship, it's something happen, especially bad things happen in our life. We blame other people, That is because of him or because of her. We try to blame other people because we don't have the knowledge or ownership for karma. So normally we don't want to acknowledge that we have done something wrong. So we cannot accept it because normally we are very biased to ourselves. So even though we have done something bad in our life, then bad consequences will come to our life. Then we cannot acknowledge, oh, I have done something bad. But instead of understanding our karma, we point out other people because of him, because of her, like this. So that is because of not understanding the ownership for karma. I think that the first one. If we understand the ownership for karma, then there's no blame, blaming other people. But of course, sometimes we need to respond the problem. We need to respond the problem. So we have to speak up if someone someone do something wrong. If it is needed, you have to pinpoint. You have to speak up. That is another one. But it is not a blaming. It's not a blaming. But normally, we blame other people to hide our mistakes. Then we want to hide our mistakes. For that reason, we blame other people. That is human nature. So because of that, we have more and more problem in our life. So here, if we have the knowledge of our ownership for karma, we are owner of our own karma. You are owner of your own karma. There's no blame other people. Not even, you don't need to blame yourself. So in this way, you became a mature person. So I think this is a very important step. Another one, in our life, some people have a lot of problem, Then you feel compassionate, So this one is another level. It became another level, So this level, understanding the ownership for karma and living with the four divine states are connected each other. Suppose it's someone, so we have four divine dwellings. If someone having a lot of problem, normally we feel compassionate. So if you cannot help them, try to help them. That is a divine dwelling. So you have a compassion. So if you have a compassion, if you are helping that person, those who are needy, those who are helpless, you try to help them. That is compassion. So if you practice compassion, then you became sublime. You became a good person. You are living, it's just like a divine dwellings. So next one, those who are prosperous, those who are successful, those who are doing well, then you rejoice for their achievements. That is altruistic joy. That's altruistic joy. So normally, when we see that people are successful, people are popular, people are doing well in their job, in their family, normally we cannot rejoice. Instead of that, we have a jealousy, jealousy. We can't see, we cannot see that they are doing well. So if you don't have a altruistic joy, if you cannot rejoice the success and prosperity of other people, then your mind is very bad. Then if you can rejoice for their success, for their achievement, then you have a altruistic joy. Your mind became divine dwelling. So if you can practice compassion, altruistic joy, you are mature person. So if you cannot practice, even though you encounter with the needy people and those who are suffering, then if you don't have a compassion, so that means your mind is not mature. Somebody is successful and somebody very rich, prosperous. If you do not rejoice, if you have a jealousy in your mind, you are not mature. So actually, 4 divine dwellings are a very good practice to become a mature person. So actually, this is the middle level. If you have the knowledge of the ownership for karma, your karma and the karma of other people, you have become a mature person. You are not blaming other people. If you have a good result and bad result, you have an understanding and you have a acceptance of your karma, your result. So in that way, you became a mature person. So as a Buddhist, you must have the first level. But if you can practice 4 divine dwellings, so you became better, a very good person in your life. So if someone is suffering and having a lot of problem, compassion in your heart, you're trying to help them. If someone is doing well, successful and prosperous, rejoice, instead of having jealousy. Then if you can practice compassion and altruistic joy, that means you are mature. The last one is equanimity. Equanimity is the most important one. So here, when we talk about the last one, when we define a mature person, the last one is your mind is not shaken when affected by worldly vicissitude. So that is the quality of the mature person. Actually, that is nothing but equanimity. So equanimity means you can balance your mind even though you encounter with the good and bad ups and downs of life. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. So even though you encounter with those ups and downs of life, your mind is very stable. You can balance your mind. You're peaceful and tranquil. You can solve the problem mindfully and tranquilly, calmly. So in that way, you became a mature person. So here, I want to define equanimity. I want to explain definition of equanimity. That's very important. So actually, I didn't talk about loving kindness. The reason is, if you understand the last 3, you understand loving kindness. So loving kindness is defined, and Father explained with the 3: compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. If you have a compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity, you have a loving kindness. So here, equanimity here means, I want to say, your mind is not shaking when you experience pleasant and unpleasant people. Sometimes you will meet with unpleasant people. Your mind is not shaking with the anger, very stable. Sometimes you will meet with the pleasant people. Your mind is not shaking with the greed. You want to meet them again and again. So your mind is not shaking. Your mind is not shaking with the greed. So here, equanimity means equanimous mind. Not shaking when you encounter good or bad people. Sometimes in your job, you will meet good people in your job. So in your mind, you want to meet only such people. That's lobha. Sometimes when you meet miserable people, nasty people in your job, you feel angry. You don't like it at all. That's human nature. That's human nature. That is the nature of immature people. If you are a mature person, whether you meet pleasant or unpleasant people, nice or bad people, your mind is not shaking. You do your job. That is the nature of the nature of mature person. So actually, in your job, sometimes you may find good people and sometimes bad people. Especially when you are doing in service factor, right? So you were encounter, especially in the hospital. Okay, thank you. So sometimes, especially those people who are working in a hospital, nurses and doctors. So you will encounter a good patients and bad patients, So actually, your job is to treat them, right? To cure their diseases. So sometimes you may meet nice patients, sometimes nasty patients, always complaining, always mumbling, Then your mind is not shaking. Your mind is not shaking. So that is equanimous mind. Sometimes you will have a good weather, sometimes you will have a bad weather. That is equanimous mind. Sometimes you will have good food, sometimes a bad food, equanimous mind. So you maintain balance of your mind. When you encounter with a good food, your mind is not shaking. Oh, I want to eat such kind of food next time. Especially for Buddhist monk, No such a things, So we have to eat whatever food put on the table. So actually, if we cannot eat, not mature, Not mature. It doesn't mean we don't need to speak of. But when we speak of, there's no greed in our mind. There's no anger in our mind. We can tell you can tell the But of course, if you do not tell the devotee, the best. So what I want to say is, whether you're eating good food or bad food, your mind is not shaking, So you maintain balance of your mind. That is equanimous mind. So especially 4 divine dwellings are normally connected with the people. Normally we talk about with the people. So in our life, sometimes we meet good people. Sometimes we meet bad people. This is a ups and downs of life, Ups and downs of life. So when we meet any people, we have to maintain our mind, not to be shaken, with the anger or with the greed. So that is important, to practice the equanimous mind. So here, loving kindness. Loving kindness means a desire to bring forth welfare of people, not only other people, but also yourself, yourself as well. So this is a loving kindness. You have to love yourself. You have to love other people. But here, love without attachment. Without attachment. So loving kindness is interpreted with compassion, altruistic joy, equanimity. So here, then I will give you one example. But I very often explain this example. Compassion, suppose. So when you see suffering people, you have a compassion in your heart. You want to help them. Then you try your best to help them. So if your assistance, if your help is not enough, normally we have here sorrow. We have a sorrow in our heart. So if you have a sorrow in your heart, so that means you are not mature person. So without sorrow, so you help other people. If you cannot help them, there shouldn't be sorrow in your heart. You have to understand all beings are owner of their own karma. So they are suffering because of their karma. So that means they are suffering because of their karma. Don't look at them, That means you don't have a compassion, If you see people who are suffering, compassion in your heart. If you can help them, try to help them. If you cannot, you have to practice equanimity. All beings are owner of their own karma, right? All beings are owner of their own karma. So recently I see a short movie, not short movie, a news in Argentina. It said that a lady was fall down in the train track. The train is coming, the train is coming. Actually, there are many people. So the many people trying to, stop, many people trying to stop the trains, If they go and rescue the lady on the train track, and they will die. Nobody go down to bring the lady. Instead, they try to stop the train. Luckily, the train stopped. Actually, and I conclude that they have a understanding and wisdom. If somebody go down and take the lady, and he or she will die. He will die, So both of them will die. But instead, they do not go down. That they try to stop the train. The train stop. Luckily, so that means they have a compassion in their heart, in their heart. For that reason, they try to stop the train. The train stop. Their compassion walk. Suppose, if the train cannot stop, the train will, so the lady will be killed, the lady will be killed. So then there will be sorrow, sadness in our mind, naturally. If you have a sorrow and sadness, so that means it's not a real compassion. It is a fake compassion. It is fake compassion. So if the lady died because of the train, you have to practice equanimity. All beings are owner of their own karma. Not really easy to practice real compassion. So compassion have to train together with equanimity. If the lady died because of the train, we have to practice equanimity. All beings are honor their own karma. But lucky, they can start the train. So just like that, sometimes if somebody is very, suppose your brother is promoted, your brother became a minister in the government. Suppose then it can be you feel very happy, because your brother became a minister. You feel very happy. It can be two kinds of happiness. One, altruistic joy. Another one, unclean joy. The joy or happiness because of greed, because of attachment. Suppose your brother became a minister, then you feel very happy, thinking that he will do something for you. And you can use his name, to get something. So if you be very happy, because based on such type of desire, such type of greed, your happiness is not really pure. But only that you feel altruistic joy, real joy in your mind, because he was promoted. He was appointed as a minister. So just like that, we can take it many examples in our life. If someone became very rich, then you can have a altruistic joy. Suppose one of your relatives became very rich, then you can practice altruistic joy. But you think that he will share some of his wealth for you, thinking that you feel very happy, very happy. So now, he or she didn't give anything to you. Even when you meet with that person, then he turned blind eye, then you feel very angry. You feel very angry, So that is because your joy and happiness is not a real one, a fake one. So now, even though your relative who became very rich, even though he no longer talk to you, even though he ignore you, you have to practice equanimity. All beings are honor their own karma. He or she became very rich because of his karma. So this is to practice altruistic joy, altruistic joy. So that altruistic joy, mudita, have to be guarded with the equanimity. So we have to practice with the equanimity. So all beings are honor our own karma. So my relative, my auntie, my uncle became very rich. His karma. Even though he forgot about your life, and even though he ignored you, no anger at all, right? No anger at all. So this is a mature mind. Mature mind. Actually, we talk about loving kindness very often. Metta. Even we write a letter, we always put with the metta. So we have to look at our mind whether we really have a metta, So actually, metta here means combination of compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. It's not easy to practice these four. Most importantly, loving kindness. So that means if we talk about loving kindness, it is interpreted with the compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. It's not really easy, If we see, especially when the person we don't like became very rich, we have a jealousy, dislike in our mind. We cannot, our mind shaking, with the dislike or anger. It's someone we don't like, the one we hate, have a lot of problem, get in trouble, get in trouble. Normally, we feel very happy. That's a human nature. That's human nature. We don't have a compassion those who we hate, right? Normally, our rival, the person we don't like, have a lot of problem in their life. Normally, in our mind, very happy. That's a human nature. That's a human nature, So that means you don't have a compassion. You have a anger, enmity, ill will in our mind naturally come in. So I think autistic drawing, compassion, is a very good quality of a mature person. If you are mature, even though the person who you don't like have a lot of problem, then you try to help them. Even if you cannot help them, there's no happy in your heart. There's no joy in your heart, Compassion. And also, so actually, if you live in according with the 4 divine dwellings, then you will become a mature person. Actually, it is important to practice 4 divine dwellings as a better Buddhist, a better Buddhist. So if you can live in according with the 4 divine dwellings, you become a very good person, a mature person. So actually here, mature person are directly connected with the equanimity. Normally, when we see suffering people, especially in a hospital, those who are suffering with the cancer and fatal diseases, normally we cannot balance our mind. Our mind shaking. So as a Buddhist monk, we see a lot of people. We have to go there and chant. So at that time, we have to try to balance our mind. We must have a compassion, We must have a compassion. But no sorrow. You might think that it is very, if we don't have a sorrow in our mind is brutal. You might think that. No, not like this. Must have a compassion in our heart, but no sorrow, no crime, no sadness, even if your parents. So then only you will become a mature person. So I think practicing compassion, especially to those who are very close to us, is very difficult to practice real compassion. When we see them, they are suffering, then we have a lot of sorrow in our heart. So that is the sign of immature people. If you are mature, so there's no sadness in your mind, no crime, no depression. Just feel compassion to them. You will try to help them as much as you can. If you cannot, you have to practice equanimity. All beings are owner of their own karma. Even if our parents, especially the monks, so they have to practice equanimous mind. They have to practice compassion at the same time. That compassion have to protect with the equanimous mind. Otherwise, then sorrow, automatically arise. That's very important. As a doctor who are operating, a lot of patients, have to maintain clarity of mind, especially, unshaken mind. If their mind is shaken, they cannot do their job. For that reason, they need a lot of equanimous mind, equanimity. They have a compassion to the patients. For that reason, they are operating. But something wrong. have to maintain, stillness of the mind, stillness of the mind. So that is equanimity. For that reason, the doubters cannot operate their relative, especially their parents. They have to hand over other doubters because they cannot maintain, their mind. If they are operating their parents, they have a less equanimous mind. So they became immature person. So here, what I want to say is, when we practice compassion, so that compassion have to go hand in hand with the equanimous mind. So equanimous mind is nothing but immature mind. Even though you encounter with suffering people, you can be pure compassion. You want to help them, pure compassion. But there's no sadness in your mind. No sadness, no cry, no cry. If you have sadness in your mind is polluted. You will not see the true nature, the reality. Your mind is polluted. For that reason, compassion, you need to practice compassion. At the same time, you need to balance that compassion with the equanimity. So the same thing, altruistic joy, even though we feel very happy, their success, even though we feel very happy for their wealth, they do not even acknowledge. Then anger arises. So actually, when we practice altruistic joy, so that altruistic joy, mudita, have to be guarded with equanimity. So actually, I still remember Aung San Suu Kyi, before she became state councillor, and she said that she would stay opposite leader. So there are a lot of supporters. Almost the whole country support her. But in one interview, and she said that she already know that those people who are supporting her right now will become her enemy one day. So this is a human nature, So now there are some people who don't like Aung San Suu Kyi. Not so many, a few, Now what I want to do is, formally they are supporter of Aung San Suu Kyi, very strong supporter. But now they don't like. So Aung San Suu Kyi said that she already knew that the people who are supporting her one day were against. That's human nature. If they are supporting your mind, you can maintain your mind, not to be shaken with the greed. If they against, you have to maintain your mind, not to be shaken with anger. Just acknowledge, That is ups and downs of life. Sometimes people will blame you. Just understand. Just maintain your mind. Sometimes those people who blame you will praise you one day. Sometimes the people who are supporter or who always praise you will blame you one day. So whether you encounter with the blame or praise, trying to maintain equanimous mind, equanimity, that's very important. So in that way, you became immature person. So at the end of the day, you have to practice loving kindness toward everyone. Not only the other people, but also yourself. Sometimes you love those who are suffering. Sometimes you have a compassion, and you're trying to help them. If you cannot help them, look at yourself. You have to love yourself. Oh, this is my limit. So as a earlier example, the people, they left, the people, they do not go down to bring the lady, the lady. So that means they left, they maintain their mind with their equanimity. They left themselves. So actually, even though we practice compassion, if you cannot help them, we have to look at ourselves. Oh, that is my limit. And also, when you practice altruistic joy, then you have to rejoice for their success. Then one day, you have to look at yourself as well. That is loving kindness. That's loving kindness. So, in second level, in second step, if you live in according with 4 divine dwellings, you will become a mature person. Even though you are seeing suffering people, then you will try to help them. If you cannot help them, then you maintain. Your mind is not shaken with the sorrow. Then you became a mature person. Even though the people, a close relative, who became very rich, even though they ignore you, there's no anger in your mind. You have a pure altruistic joy, pure congratulation for their rich prosperity, for their wealth. Then you balance your mind not to have anger to those people. So that is a mature mind. So I think many of you have learned 4 divine dwellings. You may not notice. If you are practicing these 4 divine dwellings, you became a mature person day by day. The second step. Any question up to now? Okay, good.
Coming back to the owner of your karma.
Okay.
Now suppose my colleague got promotion.
Okay.
But he got his promotion from stealing my work.
Okay.
So am I supposed to say, oh, that's my karma also? Or I did all the good work, but he stole it, present to the boss and say this is his, and he got promoted. So is that my karma also, or is it his karma, or what?
Good point. Actually, here, you need to tell your boss. You should inform and let your boss know that he steal your job. Sorry? If the boss say you, if the boss does not believe you, your karma. So I mean, understanding your karma, right? Understanding your karma, then there's no blame toward your colleague. There's no blame toward your boss. If you think that it's not fair, then your colleague steal your job, and the boss do not take action. That is their job, That is their karma. They have done bad karma. Then you acknowledge all beings are owner of their own karma. Then they do not believe, the boss do not believe you. Then there's no any action. Then you just accept it as a karma. Not blaming toward your colleague, not blaming toward your boss. Wow, that is their karma, my karma. There's no negative thinking in your mind. Then you just try your best. I think that is the knowledge or the karma. Sometimes, some people do, even your children, the children are doing bad things, You're trying to correct them. If they do not listen to you, their karma. I think that is the knowledge of karma. So if you have such knowledge of karma, there's no anger toward your children. And also, this is you love your children. Because of that, you're trying to correct them. If they do not listen to you, then you practice equanimous mind. Equanimous mind. So until the second level. Okay.
Bhante,
Yeah.
I want to make a remark. In this modern world,
This one.
in this modern world,
Yeah.
where we are now having Facebook, Twitter, or whatever, the sharing
Yeah.
media, it looks like loving kindness to other people are more important than loving kindness to family members or even to your own self. The trend is like this, I observe. So it seems like you love other people or you love the world more because you feel like sharing your things.
Yeah.
You think the whole world is looking at your things. And you forget the family members.
Yeah.
And most importantly, you forget yourself.
Mm.
Many people who are like that, they share a lot of things that finally they kill themselves. They committed suicide. So they don't love themselves. So I think loving kindness, we have this metta meditation, right?
Yeah.
Always start from self, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't love yourself, even the whole world love you, it's quite useless, right?
You're right. So for that reason, I say loving kindness is interpreted with the compassion or twisted joint equanimity. Then you have a compassion in your heart, try to help them. You have to know the limit, If you are sharing everything what you have, then you will suffer. So that means you don't have equanimous mind, equanimity. So compassion and equanimity have to be balanced, Or twisted joint and equanimity have to be balanced. So then only you have a real loving kindness. Loving kindness here means not only loving kindness toward other people, loving kindness to yourself as well. To yourself as well. So, same example, the crowd do not go around to bring the lady from the train track. Because they have a compassion in their heart, they want to help that lady, compassion. But nobody go down because they look at their life, It's the right way, So they try their best to stop the train. Luckily, the train stopped. So their compassion walk, real compassion. Suppose the train crashed the lady, crashed the lady. The lady died on the spot. Those who are seeing, they will have a lot of sorrow and sadness in their mind. Some people even cry, You may cry. Sadness, sorrow, they are not real compassion. Not real compassion. Fake compassion. Commentary said. Uttarimaga said that. Fake compassion. So actually compassion is very pure. Very pure. No sorrow, no sadness in our mind. We try to help them, but we have to know the limit. We have to look at ourselves as well. Looking at ourselves, nothing but equanimity. You're trying to correct your children, they do not listen. They stay doing, wrong things. You try your best. If they do not listen to you, you feel very angry, That means you are hurting yourself. Hurting yourself. At that situation, you have to look at yourself. Wow, I have done my best. That's all I can do. All beings are honor their own karma. So as my children are doing wrong things, if they encounter bad things, that's their karma. But if they have a lot of problem because of those wrongdoings, you can have a compassion again. Then you can try to help your children. If you cannot help them, then you have to practice equanimity again. All beings are honor their own karma. So in that way, you became mature. So sometimes you will have a good things, sometimes you have bad things. If you cannot balance your mind, then not good. Okay. The next level, let's move to next level. Oh, I want to quote Kalama Sutta. I think not much time to talk about this sutta. But here, actually, in that sutta, so the Buddha taught to Kalama, don't believe anything just because of tradition, just because my teacher say, etc. Instead, so they have to examine, investigate themselves, whether they are wholesome or unwholesome, whether it is criticized by wise people or praised by wise people. We have to examine and investigate ourselves. If we know that they are unwholesome, trying to avoid them. If we know that they are wholesome, trying to follow them. Then that is the first step. The first step. So actually, as a Buddhist, you know that lopa, dosa, moha, the root of unwholesome. We have to know that. We have to abandon them. Alopa, adosa, moha, they are wholesome, the root of wholesome. We have to practice them. The second level, actually the Kalama, they are pathless, because many teachers from different religions, they come and talk to their, they come to their place and they talk about their teachings. Then they became pathless. Whose teaching is correct? Whose teaching is wrong? And the Buddha taught this sutta. So, the first step, unwholesome things, abandon, wholesome things, follow. And second one, so the Buddha said that then Kalamas, that noble disciple who is thus devoid of longing, devoid of awe, and confused, clearly comprehending, and ever mindful. Actually, I don't want to highlight this one. What I want to say is this one. He dwells pervading the entire world with the mind imbued with the loving kindness. So the entire world with the mind imbued with the compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. So actually our loving kindness, our compassion, altruistic joy, equanimity must be vast, exalted, measureless. Actually the most important one is this one. Apamana, measureless, no limit. You don't have to limit to people to practice your loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. You don't have to limit. I will left only to Singaporeans, not others, because you have a limit. You measure, no limit. Even to animals, Then I left only to living beings, or only to human beings, not the rest of the animals. No limit. Then I left. I practice loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity only to Mangala Vihara devotees, not devotees from other place. No limit. So here, actually, 4 divine dwellings, you don't have to limit. You have to practice anyone, even the people you don't like. Even the people you don't like. Anyone around you, your family members, your neighbors, the people from Singapore, the people from other countries. You have to practice 4 divine dwellings. If you limit only Singaporeans, not divine dwellings. So you have to, when you practice compassion, to all people, to all people. So what I want to say is, measureless without enmity, without awe. So that is the definition of 4 divine dwellings in the Pali Canon. Many places, not only in this place, all the places, the Buddha will talk about four divine dwelling, the same thing. So no limit, no measurement. So he is the one who steal my job. He is the one who give me a lot of problem. You know? There's no limit. So when you practice loving kindness, compassion, no limit, no boundary. So this is a second level, divine dwellings. If you practice four divine dwellings, I think I just give you a brief explanation. I think when you are learning karma, trying to understand that, if you have the knowledge and right view about ownership of karma, then you are mature. If you can practice four divine dwellings, you are mature. You are mature. The next one is, before I talk about next one, the doctrine of anatta or non-self. Then I want to talk about this one, the kinetic theory. Actually, I take it from internet. Actually, this is a regarding with the physics I did. Physics. Kinetic theory of matter state that all of the particles that make up matter are constantly in motion. So actually, in our body, a lot of particles. The chairs, combination of a lot of particles. The buildings, combination of a lot of particles. So according to physics, according to kinetic theory, they are constantly in motion. Constantly in motion. So actually, this is a science, according to science. Because I take it from internet, because when I see documentary about universe, so one of the scientists said that the matters are moving. They do not stay in one place. Actually, my understanding is matters are not moving. They are dying. And new particles, new matter arises. According to Buddhism, there's no something, there's not such a thing that exists forever. Your body, the breathing, your mind, everything arises and passes away. Everything arises and passes away. Scientists, they say that the matters are moving. They do not stay in one place. So in that documentary, they show with the, the video. Actually, they look at with a very powerful microscope. The matters are, moving like this, shaking. But at the time, I understand that. My understanding, is in according with the Buddhism. I understand that matters are not moving. So all matters disappear and new matter arises. For those who are looking with the microscope, it looks like they are moving. According to Buddhism, nothing remains the same. Always changing. We call it the nature of a nature, impermanent. So Plato also said the same thing. Everything change and nothing remains still. Everything is changing, Plato, a Greek philosopher, he said that. Everything change, nothing remains still. And you cannot step twice into the same stream. Then you dive into the stream, then you dive again, the water not the same. Your body, not the same. You cannot dive into the water twice. So actually, when you look at here, scientists, even they do not know, I would say that, even they do not know impermanent nature of the matter. The matter. They think that they are moving. Actually, according to Buddhism, I think that not moving. They are changing all the time, Old particle disappear, a new particle arises. Impermanent nature. Actually, for those who are meditating, you can see that. You can realize by yourself. In the deepest level of samadhi and deepest level of concentration, one will see that things are changing so quickly in your body, in your mind. Things are changing so quickly that we cannot hold onto anything. Particles in your body, your mind, everything changing quickly. When we go to meditation retreat, a serious meditator, they can analyze their body. Actually, different combination of different particles. That's our body. But we do not have a deeper level of concentration. For that reason, we cannot see. We see the body, as a whole, as a whole. Because of that, attachment came in, craving came in. Those who are very concentrated, those who attain a deeper level of samadhi or concentrations, they will themselves know that things are changing, particle in our body, changing so quickly that you cannot grasp, Then finally, you yourself know that, everything's impermanent. Then there's no clinging, toward your body, toward your mind. Because impermanent nature. Then in one of the sutta, in many sutta, the Buddha said that 5 aggregates, in other words, body and mind are impermanent. Whereas impermanent are suffering. Actually, this one is not a normal suffering in change. Actually, our body changing all the time, our mind changing all the time. Because of that, it's suffering, according to advanced teachings in Buddhism, according to Four Noble Truths. What are suffering are non-self. Actually, this is a very famous statement taught by the Buddha. Mind, the body, and everything, they are impermanent. Actually, you will see impermanent nature of body and mind by achieving a deeper level of concentrations. You yourself will be able to analyze your body. This body is a combination of small particles, millions and billions of particles. So, old particle disappear, a new particle arises. For that reason, our body is changing all the time. When we are very young, changing to better. When we grow old, changing to worse. Changing all the time, right? So what I want to say is, our body and mind are impermanent. We have to know that. There's a deeper level, If we know impermanent nature of Buddhist teachings by yourself, you will become a mature person. If you practice meditation, then you attain a very deep concentration. Then you analyze, you look at your body with your mind's eye. Mind's eye. Not the real eye. Then you look at your body, you will understand that body, new particles arises and passes away, and replaced by new particles and passes away. Equal like this. For those, it said that for those who are in very deep concentrations, especially non-ratana level and arhat level, they can see everything outside body, your body. When they see people, they can analyze billions and millions of particles arises and passes away. These bodies are combination of those particles. If you have such understanding, there's no way for craving to arise. No craving. Because you yourself know the actual nature of things. That is called Yatha Buddha Jnanatasana. The knowledge of things as they really are. We have a lot of attachment to the body, to our body, and body of other people. Because of that, because the reason we do not know actual nature of the body. So they have the nature of impermanent, everything changing all the time. And if you have such knowledge, then you fully accept change in your life. You will be wrinkle one day, your hair will gray. You accept it because this is the real nature of your body. If somebody died, your parents, your children died, no cry, because you have the knowledge of impermanence. You can use your wisdom and analyze your body, your mind. Everything is changing. Even your body, your own body is changing. Even your own mind is changing, let alone your beloved ones. So if you have this higher knowledge, the knowledge of impermanent nature, then there's no sorrow, no fear to lose your beloved one. You fully accept, you understand everything is impermanent. Your body and the body of other people. If you have this higher knowledge about impermanent, then you became a very mature person. Even in a family, a lot of brothers and sisters, some people are very moody, crying. That's human nature. No need to blame. But we can cultivate to become a mature person, to understand impermanent nature. But of course, this is a very high. Only through higher level of concentrations you will understand. But of course, in theory also will work for some time. But here, for those who are new, I want to share my own experience. I think many of you may not know it yet. Last year, my mother died. Then I got a phone call. My sister called me crying, My mother died. Then I heard my father died. Actually, I think that actually when they are talking to me, not clear. Actually, my mother died, but I heard my father died. Then I told my sisters what happened. Then I told them, actually, then we have to accept it. We have to die one day. But trying to make sure the funeral, the wake is properly done. Then I give some instructions to them. They do. Then on that day, actually I bought a ticket and going to fly next early morning. Then on that evening, I attended puja. Actually, of course, there's a tension and sadness in my mind. But when I do puja, then I chant. Suddenly, I remember a childhood experience. When I come back from school, when I do not see my mother, I feel empty in my heart. Then I always ask, where's my mother? So as a child, we left our mother, then our father. That's quite natural. So when I do not see my father, I do not ask. When I do not see my mother, I always ask, where is my mother? If he went to some house, I follow. Then I remember that childhood memory. Then the tear came down. No? That means I don't have mindfulness at the time. No mindfulness, no equanimous mind. So that time, sorrow came in. Immature mind. Then I'm trying to be mindful. Then, if mindfulness came in, sorrow disappeared. Then when I go back, there's no cry, less sorrow. I don't want to say no sorrow. If I say no sorrow, that means arrogant. But of course, there is sorrow and tension in my mind. But there's no cry, no very powerful sorrow, only very mild one. Actually, because of a constant practice as a Buddhist monk. So what I want to say is, at that time, then I understand the teachings of impermanent. So everyone must die. Then earlier I heard my father died. Actually, then my sister told me, no, my father, my mother. Then actually, of course, mother, left to mother is stronger than father. So what I want to say is training as a Buddhist monk and reading the text, everything is impermanent. So because of that, less sorrow and less lamentation. So actually, such type of understanding will help you. Especially when we are visiting our very close devotees, they're suffering, then we have a lot of compassion to them. Then we have to maintain our mind not to be shaken with the sorrow, sadness. If we have a sadness in our mind and sorrow in our mind, we cannot perform our duty. Our voice, our chanting will be shaken, The patient who is listening our chanting will be affected. So we can have a compassion, but trying to maintain our mind, not to be shaken with the sorrow and sadness. That's very important. So when you read this level, higher level, if you have the knowledge about impermanent nature of the body and mind, and the body of other people, and the mind of other people, then there's no sorrow, lamentation. As I earlier said that, Aung San Suu Kyi, as a politician, now she have a lot of criticism by her strong supporter. But that's human nature, impermanent, The mind is impermanent. Some people will love you, but later they hate you so much. Impermanent, So if we have this understanding, then there's no sorrow in your mind. Just understand the nature of the world. That's all. So here, 5 aggregate, in other words, mind and body are impermanent. So what are impermanent and suffering? So what are suffering are non-self. But here, non-self, that's very important. Today, I like to highlight this one. doctrine of non-self. So as a Buddhist, it's important to understand this unique teaching of the Buddha. This unique teaching. As you all know that the Buddha taught Dhammacakkappavattana, the first sermon, then a group of 5 monks, they became Sotapanna. Then the Buddha taught his second sermon, Anatta Lakkhana Sutta. Non-self, Anatta Lakkhana means non-self doctrine. Non-self doctrine. Then after hearing this sermon, all the monks became arahant. They attained enlightenment. So actually, in this sutta, the Buddha said, bhikkhus, form, form, not only the body, everything you see, that's form, is non-self, non-self. So here, self or soul, something that exists permanently, no change in nature. In other religion, they will say soul, soul. Any language you can use. If you think there is a permanent entity in your body, in your mind, in the brain, if you think in the sky, if you think there is a permanent entity, that is a wrong view. That is a atta, theory of atta. So according to Buddhism, the Buddha trying to analyze the body and the mind. Everything is impermanent, rising and passes away, rising and passes away. Analyze the body, analyze the mind. Look at your mind, always changing, right? Look at your body, not the same 10 years ago. 20 years ago, much different. Always changing, always changing. Not remain the same, no? So, wherever it's impermanent, is suffering. So wherever suffering is, non-self. So according to doctrine of non-self, so according to Buddhism, there's no a permanent entity in your body, in your mind. When you have a deeper level of concentration, you'll be able to understand yourself. That's the Buddhist teachings. Buddhist teachings. The purpose of Buddhist teachings is to see anatta. The purpose of Satipatthana Sutta, the most famous suttas in Buddhism, is to see anatta, non-self, the nature of non-self. So when you practice 4 foundations of mindfulness, when you are practicing well, then you will yourself know it. There's no permanent entity in your body or in your mind. Everything arises and passes away. Arises and passes away. If you have such understanding, you became mature. Because you yourself know your body, your mind changing. If you encounter changes in your life, changes with your beloved person, then you have understanding and wisdom. Anatta. So the Buddha said that bhikkhu's form is non-self. Also not only form, feeling, perception, volitional formation and consciousness. Actually these are 5 aggregate. So we can summarize 5 aggregate into 2, mind and body. Mind and body. Mind and body are non-self. 5 aggregate are non-self. 4, if bhikkhus form were saved, this form will not lead to affliction. If you think that your body is safe, everlasting entity, if you think that your mind is safe or soul, everlasting entity, then this will not lead to affliction. And it will be possible to have it of form, of feeling, perception, volitional formation, and consciousness. Let mind form be this, let mind form not be this. If you think that your body, your mind is so or safe, then you can command your body, your mind, let my body be like this, let my mind be like this. You cannot do that because it is impermanent. For that reason, no safe. There's no soul or no safe. There's no permanent entity. Everything arises and passes away. You cannot control. You cannot control. But because form, feeling, five aggregate, your mind and body is not safe. Your mind and body lead to affliction. It is not possible to have it off your mind and body or five aggregate. Let my body and mind be like this. Let my body and mind not be like this. You cannot do that. They arise and passes away. That is the nature. That is called Dhamma. Dhamma means intrinsic nature. Arises and passes away. If you have such type of understanding, impermanent nature of phenomena, impermanent nature of your mind and body, impermanent nature of five aggregate, then you will understand that there's no permanent entity. There's no soul or self that exists forever. Everything arises and passes away. If you have such understanding, even you lost your parents, even you lost your children, no sorrow, no fear came in. Your mind is not affected by those impermanent nature. You became immature person. So this is the higher level. So these higher level can be found only in Buddhism. You can get teachings. Number one, the nature of karma, the law of karma. You can find in other religions. They believe hard work. They are promoted because of their hard work. They believe so. And they have a loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, equanimity. Actually, their loving kindness is stronger. Sometimes their compassion is stronger than Buddhist. Stronger than Buddhist. So they are very good people. No? They're very good people. So if you bet, so in Buddhism, one of the man then upekka, equanimity, a very beautiful quality. So that quality can be found 100% in honesty. But of course, in other teachings, other religion also, you can find out the quality of upekka in some degree, but not 100%. So teachings of equanimity can be found in Buddhism. For that reason, when Dalai Lama talk about equanimous mind, Westerner earlier they do not understand. They cannot accept, Then later, step by step, gradually they begin to understand the teachings of equanimity, equanimous mind. You can have compassion, but without attachment. If your beloved person lost, then you maintain stability of mind. That's equanimity. Even though your relative who became a very rich and they forgot about you, there's no anger. Understanding, pure understanding. But you still have altruistic joy. But your mind is guarded by equanimity. So your mind is not shaken with anger. So in that way, you became a mature person. But the last one, understanding the doctrine of non-self, is available only in Buddhism. So actually, in meditation, we have two types: tranquility meditation or serenity meditation, samatha. Samatha is available in other religions as well. But insight, vipassana, is available only in Buddhism. So you can have the knowledge or understanding of non-self or understanding of impermanence through insight, vipassana. So if you have the last level, not really easy, but you can achieve it. So if you have the last level of understanding, the doctrine of non-self, the doctrine of impermanence, so you became a mature person. So I think that to become a mature person, you can cultivate through 3 steps. The first one, the law of karma. You have to understand it and fully accept it. Second one, you have to live in accordance with 4 divine dwelling. Then if you are able, trying to understand the nature of mind and body, impermanent, suffering, and non-self. Most importantly, non-self. Cannot control, They rises and passes away. You have to understand it and accept it. It doesn't mean you have to cure your diseases. It doesn't mean, You're trying to stay a healthy life. If something happens in your life, non-self. Okay, so any question? Question? Okay, no question, huh? Okay, let's close our last Dhamma Talk. Actually, we will share any announcement? No. Announcement. Okay. We share the merit.
Yeah, before we thank you, Bhante, for the talk. Before we do sharing of merit, just one announcement. MVDF, which stands for Mangala Vihara Dhamma Fellowship, is celebrating their 10th anniversary on the 10th of November in Mangala Vihara. The time will be 10:45. You're all welcome for the celebration. But if you can, let me know your attendance because we need to cater for catering. It's a buffet lunch. But of course, there will also be a lunch dana for the monks. So those who are coming, you're all welcome. But just let me know so that I can add in the number of persons. Okay? So now we do the transfer of merit.
Okay, we have done a lot of good deed by teaching the Dhamma, by listening the Dhamma. We have accumulated a lot of good deed.